What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's weekly game plan. I'm going to give you my watch list for Monday morning, the game plan for the week ahead. And in fact, this is going to be a game plan for the month of March. We just put February into the history books. It was the, best month of the year so far, but it's only second month in. But here's the thing. This is the way I approach trading. I'm actually very risk adverse. Now, bear with me. I know some of you guys are like, that's impossible. You're a day trader, but it's true. Here's the way I approach trading every single day. Number one, I approach trading like a business. I have a business plan, and part of that plan includes the time of day I start every single day, and I'm very consistent about that. I always show up at the same time every single day. The second thing that's very important for me when it comes to trading is dipping my toe in the water and getting a feel for the market before I go with full size. So even though in this hotter market, I've been a bit more aggressive on my first trades, I am never going in with my full 100% position on the first trade. I always leave myself room because the fact is that first trade is where I face the biggest risk, because if I'm wrong, I'm red. And if I did that on full size, my loss is big. And now I'm backed up against the wall, and that's where things can start to spiral. So to avoid that, I start each day being a little bit more conservative, getting green, building a cushion, and once I've got a cushion, sizing up. Now, if I never get a cushion, then I just say, well, today's not the day to size up. I'm not going to be aggressive. It's just going to be a small green day. So that's the way I approach each day. I approach each week the same way. Monday morning, breaking the ice, getting green, building a cushion, but not doing anything crazy. It's the first day of the week. Let's just get green. So I'm more inclined each Monday to walk away a little earlier with profit in my pocket. On Tuesday, if Monday was good, I feel like I've got a little cushion. Then Wednesday, if Monday and Tuesday were good, I'm firing on all cylinders. Thursday, well, wait a second. I'm basically winning the race here. No reason to screw it up on the last leg. So Thursday, Friday, I ease off the throttle a little bit. Now, I do the same thing each month. Beginning of the month, slow and steady, get green, lock up my first green week. Green week the first month, I've got a cushion. I do the same thing each year. January, just start by getting green on the year, building that cushion. So here we go. We're right now on the on-ramp. January was good. February was better. I'm excited for March. So let's go ahead and let's start by breaking down, you know what, so let's do two things. I'm going to look at a couple of the trades from Friday, and we're going to talk about our watch list for Monday morning. We've got our after hours top gainer scanner. So we're going to look at some of the moves from Friday after hours. We've got recent IPO top movers. We've got the continuation scan here. So we've got some scans that we're going to go over. Before we do that, I'm going to put up my metrics for the month of February, because there were a couple days in February where I had to accept defeat. I just had to accept it. You know what? It's not happening today. So this is actually the last, 30 days, last 60 days, last 90 days. So you can see I'm on a pretty nice hot streak right here, focusing on consistency, slow and steady. But here was a day where I made only $1,300. That was a week ago Friday. This was a day where I made $4,383. So there was a couple days in there where it just wasn't happening, and I had to be quick to walk away and not overstay my welcome. That's part of the business plan, right? So now going into the calendar for the month of January, we'll just look at January 1st, finished with $407,000 gross profit. We had, a market holiday here. I think this was for Jimmy Carter. And then we had another market holiday there, Martin Luther King Day maybe. And then here in February, we had President's Day. So we missed one day here, Monday the 17th, finished $497,000 in profit. So what's the goal for March? Well, if I'm going to be honest, the goal is $100K a week. That's a $400,000 month. And you know what? Because February was so strong, I think there's a possibility that I'll exceed that in March, but I'm just going to start with that initial goal. So look, the first week of February, I ended up being up $181,000, almost halfway to the $400K monthly goal for February. But it was partly because I had a $66,000 green day on Thursday the 6th, and then another really nice green day on Friday the 7th, right? So I could be fortunate that we have some really good opportunities this first week of March, and I can build that big cushion, but I'm not going to set the goal of doing that. I'm just going to set the goal of about $20,000 per day. That is my hot market daily goal. Now, if we look at my time of day that I'm trading, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So you guys, I think, mostly know that. This is, by the way, what I was saying before. Easy on Monday, sizing up on Tuesday, most aggressive Wednesday, easing off on Thursday, easing off on Friday. Time of day, being aggressive between 7 and 8. If I've got a cushion between 7 and 8, even more aggressive between 8 and 9. If I've got a cushion there, full throttle 9 to 10 a.m. and then easing off the throttle going into lunchtime, basically into noon, hard stop there. I am not trading in the afternoon. Some of these are for older. This is a larger period of time that we're looking at here. $15.4 million right here in gross profit. Oops, didn't mean to cross it out. Anyways, you get the idea. So the plan for me Monday morning, tomorrow, is I'm going to sit down 6:45. I'm going to open my live stream. I'm going to have my scanners, and I'm going to be looking for the stocks that are up the most pre-market already. So that means I'll be looking right here, top gainer scanner. And if it's TRNR, I don't think it will be, but if it is, then that's the stock that I'll be looking at. If it's PMAX, well, I don't think it is, but that's the stock I'll be looking at. Now, of course, some of these which are too cheap, I would rule out because the price is too low or the float's too high. Those of you guys who are not already familiar with my 5 criteria of stock selection, how I manage risk, or where I'm getting in or getting out, if you want to spend the next 2 weeks watching over my shoulder while I'm trading, using this same software, you'll have access to it so you can control it on your side. The charts, the scanners, the news feed, my chat room, and a selection of classes from my Warrior Pro curriculum. I will put a link where you guys can do a 2-week trial. So the 2-week trial, this is the link that I'll drop in the comments down below. It's a 2-week trial. It's $20. And as you're going through that trial, you're going to get a really good sense of what it's like to trade as a full-time member of the community at Warrior Trading. So I encourage you guys to check that out. Now, when it comes to time of day, I start each day at about 7 a.m. And the reason I start at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time during the pre-market session is because this is when most brokers come online. Robinhood, E-Trade, Schwab, Fidelity, 7 a.m. Most commission-free retail brokers allow trading beginning at exactly 7 a.m. So what that means is that if you have a stock on the scanner at 6:45 a.m., and let's just say it's TRNR, I would say ORGO, the float's too high on this at 60 million shares. So let's say TRNR is the second leading gainer. It's got a low float, it's got volume, it's got news, let's just say. That's the stock that I'm going to be watching a trade right at 7 a.m. because it's what everyone is watching. So in my upload last week, I commented on the fact that retail trading is currently at the second highest level it's ever been at. The combined volume from Robinhood, E-Trade, and Charles Schwab represent nearly 25% of the volume in the total market, and that's just those 3 brokers. So when you add all the other retail brokers and all the direct access brokers that are used by more experienced retail traders, there's a really good chance that retail trading volume is in excess of 30, 40%, maybe higher. We don't know exactly, but it's really high. So that means there's a lot of eyes on the market. And let me remind you, the way commission-free brokers make money is when you trade. It's free because of the relationship that they have with the payment for order flow institution, the market maker. So the market maker pays them because they send them all of their order flow. So the more you trade, the more the broker makes, the more the market maker makes. So they want to encourage you to trade. So when you get those push notifications on your phone, hey, check out this stock from one of these apps that you have for trading. Check out this stock. This stock's moving up. They're encouraging you to trade. So the result is that there's a lot of eyes on the market right now, and those eyes naturally go towards what is moving, right? So that's why we're seeing these big moving stocks having 186 million shares of volume in one day, 136 million shares of volume in one day. And although I know some of you guys are going to look at my profits from February and be like, wow, that's pretty crazy. First of all, I'll remind you my results are not typical. I'll also tell you that I personally know traders who had days in February where in one day they made more than $1 million in one day because there was so much volatility and they have a risk tolerance that's even higher than me. So they were comfortable taking 300,000 shares of a stock. It goes up $4 a share, boom, $1.2 million, just like that. Stocks like MLGO, I mean, it wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't do super well on it, but there's no doubt that if you had the risk tolerance, this is a stock that you could have made millions of dollars on. It went from $2 to $12 on 500 million shares of volume. If you wanted to buy 500,000 shares and ride that for 5 points, that's $2.5 million. I mean, it's kind of insane. So I say that partly to let you know that it's easy even for me to get a little FOMO, seeing people who are making, the amount of money I make in 1 month in 1 hour. And I'm sure you might feel a little bit of the same with me. But let me just tell you this. I try to, instead of getting FOMO, I turn it into inspiration. I'm inspired. And now I see the potential in the market. I haven't even hit my full potential. It keeps going higher even from where I'm at. And I never thought I would get to here. So we all have room to grow. And I think that's something to get excited about. Now, of course, I'll remind everyone as always that trading is risky and there's no guarantee you'll find that success. There's no guarantee I'll get to that level, but it's still inspiring nonetheless. So anyways, I approach trading starting at 7 a.m. and this is the window where we do really well for me, between 7 a.m. and about 9:30. At 9:30, what happens? The market officially opens and we see a spike in volume. So if we look at NVVE from Friday, NVVE, look at the volume that happened right at the 9:30 opening bell. So 9:30 opening bell, NVVE, we'll just zoom this in here. So you thought it was high volume pre-market, and then all of a sudden 9:30, boom, even higher. So what's happening at 9:30? Well, that's when market orders start going through. And a lot of commission-free traders like to use market orders, especially with Thinkorswim, because of the price improvement that you can get. So all of a sudden, 9:30 opening bell, you see even more volume. But what I have found personally in the last few weeks is that the first 2 minutes, extremely volatile. And then it's a question of, does this keep going higher? And of course, that wasn't the case with NVVE, but it was the case with some of the other ones. So for me, I think the window starting at 7 a.m. and then ending really once the stock that I'm most focused on is kind of like no longer tradable. And sometimes that'll take me to 10 a.m. or 10:30. Sometimes it stops me at even before the opening bell. And then for me, I don't trade 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. power hour. I know some people do. 4 p.m. companies put out earnings. So, Tesla, Nvidia, et cetera. I don't trade during that time of day. Certainly there are some traders that will, like California, West Coast traders, it works time zone wise. But for me, it's not as easy. So for me, my focus is a little bit earlier in the day. All right. So tomorrow, Monday morning, I'm going to be sitting down 6:45, getting ready to launch the stream, which you guys will be able to listen to. To open it when you're in the small cap room, just click on this button right here. It says, I'll just press my live stream right now just so you can see what it looks like. So you go live there and then let's see, I'm gonna do start streaming. So see how this is going to change to live. So it goes live and you get the little notification the small cap room is now broadcasting. And then you just click on this. And now this is going to be like one of these Inception things where it's like, so there's my stream right there, my broadcast. And then if you want to drag this to a different spot, you can move it around. Okay, so make sure you check out that button, click that button Monday morning, 7 a.m. Okay, so with that, let's begin by breaking down the stocks that were up in after hours trading on Friday. So I often like to check these stocks because sometimes we'll have a stock that made a big move in after hours and it's something that we should be paying attention to for continuation. Now, as it turns out, the leader was up 35% and it's a 70-cent stock. So I'm not honestly that excited about it. Acon was the second leader. Now, a lot of people have been making some jokes about the name of this company, Acon. It's a con. I'm not going to say that, but it's people will come up with these little puns when a stock is hard to trade. And this one was not easy to trade. Just out of nowhere, Friday, squeezes up, halts, dips and rips, and then gives it all back. And then pops up, pulls back, pops up, pulls back. But it's not the first time we've had these kind of pops and drops on it. We look at the daily chart, we get zoomed in here, and you can see this stock has the recent reverse split. We'll take that off. We'll go to auto down here. The 200's crazy. So you can see these pops right here, high volume red, high volume red. It's possible at some point that it'll turn around and it'll give us a turnaround story, but I don't know if it's happening anytime soon. So I think I'm going to take that one and just say no. LGVN, this one, the float's a little higher at 13 million shares. I've traded it before and it's awfully crowded. It's thickly traded. It feels like a big tug of war and not one that is easy to win. So that one's a no-go. TRNR is possible for continuation. I should say that. It is, because here's the thing. It popped up. This was on the first day. So we got a pop up and then it reversed. And then it popped up again, then it reversed. And so on Friday, I said, this has descending resistance coming across here. I've got to just draw this. So when I do these trend lines, I click the control button. And when I click the control button, it's going to snap to the high of the candle I'm hovering on. So there you go. So that snapped to there. And then I clicked actually, let me snap it to here. That's the correct spot it should be drawn. And then you could see how we ran into it pre-market, which is why I didn't take this trade. It pulls back. It comes back up. I said it's going to have that same issue. It comes back down. Comes back up, rejects, rips back up, and now it's holding above that level. Uh-oh. So now shorts are kind of not in a position of strength. And in fact, now you've got an ascending support line that's holding it up coming into after hours. So what could happen on this is those early bird traders. So who are they? Well, the European traders, maybe some Asian traders, the 4 a.m. traders, early trading in the market, they might have missed this sort of power hour squeeze because it's so late in the day. So they might see this 4 a.m. on Monday and say, you know what? I'm going to take that trade for the break of 3. And all of a sudden it pops up to 330, 340. Maybe it gives you a big squeeze at 4 a.m. and then, flushes back down a little bit. So by the time I sit down at 7 a.m., I might feel that I've kind of missed the move, right? I mean, it's possible. I don't know, but I'm speculating that could happen. So we'll see, might just sell off. The fact is at 4 a.m., there's not a lot of volume. So, if there's a big player that throws some big shorts out, they could knock it down. It won't be on short sale restriction, presumably. So they could hit the bid and make it flush. But if there is some short covering or shorts that were underwater from Friday, I don't think they would get a margin call and get auto liquidated at 4 a.m. most likely. But, if there are some accounts that are kind of right on the edge there, it would have to push a bit higher for that to happen, probably over 350. So anyway, something to keep an eye on with TRNR. So that one is going to be on the watch list. All right, so TRNR watch list, that's our first stock. Then BBAI, $5.63, float on it to 102 million shares. That's too high. So that's a no-go. So that's Big Bear AI. That's not going to happen. BTAI, this one put out news of regaining compliance. I don't think that's a strong enough headline, so that's a no-go for me. PGNY, no, it's too expensive. Its float's too high. That's a no-go. So now let's look at some of the recent IPOs. XHLD. Oh, I got to link it to my charts. There we go. So XHLD, this one, unfortunately, IPOs sells off really hard. I think that because it's a 27 million share float, I just don't know if that's going to work. Higher floats can work with IPOs because a lot of the insiders are locked up from selling. But without looking closely at the details of the offering, I think I'm just going to probably say that's not going to work. I think most people would assume at that float it won't work. CSAI, sort of big sell-off, big bounce, big sell-off. It could bounce, but it's going to be very volatile and probably overhead resistance. AGH, not bad. Could be interesting if it keeps creeping higher. Blue sky setup up there. This one I'm going to skip over. The float's too high. And then FBGL, 93 cents is too cheap. CJMB, we did get a trade on this on day 2 when it went from 5 to 8. It's pulled back. We really need breaking news on it to give us that move. Let's see. So, and also it doesn't have a float of 0. It needs float added. I'm just sending a message to my developer. So we get the float from our market data vendor, and for some reason they don't have a number in the table column or the table cell for a float for this stock. So we've got to pester the market data vendor and see if they can fix that for us. So that's CJMB. ARRD, 15 million share float, no. LZMH, 151, no. So those are no. Continuation, AGH, right? So that's the one that's a recent IPO. TRNR, yep, still watching it. So AGH, I'll put that on my side chart as well, but it really needs a catalyst. TRNR doesn't need a catalyst. The catalyst is the strength it's already got, but AGH would probably need something more. Riley, RILY, I traded it and lost on it on Thursday. I don't think I'm going to trade that again. It's a financial, B. Riley Financial. I just don't think it's going to happen. SPHL. Interesting turnaround story here off the low. Needs more volume, but I see how it's moving higher. I'll put that on a side chart just to keep an eye on. And the reason it's on a side chart is because if all of a sudden I glance on the side chart, I start seeing it spiking, then I'll pull it up real quick and I'm already sort of synced up with, this is a stock I've already looked at before. PMAX too cheap, PRHC floats too high, GRRR all the way to $30. I remember trading that one when it was down in this area. So nice move, but too expensive at this point. And the rest of these aren't up enough, I don't think, to take much interest in. Now, S&P 500, we should take a look at the overall market. We had a bit of a bounce day there, you could see on Friday. So that's good. A little bit of headwind, though, coming into the week. So we sort of finished February with, this little pullback in the market. This is kind of typical, that like inching higher and then knifing down, inching higher, dropping, inching higher and then dropping. So that's kind of that. The issue is that the market is overall really strong. And so it doesn't take much to kind of rattle investors and have them get nervous, because they know that that everything is priced pretty high. So it's like, I don't want to get caught up here. And then, so people are very quick to just sort of, try to take a short and position short, or, sort of panic sell. So I think that's going to continue to be the case for some time. So really we have TRNR, AGH, and SPHL as three stocks to keep on watch, with TRNR being the most obvious for Monday morning, although it's possible that it goes too early. It's also possible it sells off if there's a big short seller that tries to knock it down at 4 a.m. That can happen, so that's a risk. It's just a time of day where there's not a lot of liquidity. So, a really big seller can push it down. It's a risky move to do that. They've got to have a lot of conviction in the trade. But if they do it and, then you've got that big red candle, that also kind of hurts the chart. So it's going to make everyone a little bit more on their toes. You would need a really strong rally back up. But then if you got that rally back up, people will be looking at that previous high as resistance. So it has that risk. But if it just squeezes immediately up to 315, 320, 330, 350, then there's probably some nice opportunity on it. So I would keep TRNR on watch first for Monday morning. All right, so I will start my broadcast at 7 a.m. So make sure you guys are doing the 2-week trial right here, 2 weeks for $20. This will give you access to my Day Trade Dash, the software that you see in the background, and you'll be able to watch some classes from the Warrior Pro curriculum and tune into my broadcast. All right, so when you log in to the members dashboard, you'll just click right here, click to enter, and you'll be able to open the chat. All right, and then you can watch the onboarding for new members as well. So thanks as always for tuning in. Reminder, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning, 7 a.m. My stream will start. Okay, see you guys then.